Adorama TV presents Digital Photography One-on-One, where we answer your questions. Here's your host, Mark Wallace.
Hi everybody, welcome to Digital Photography One-on-One. I'm Mark Wallace. Well, a few weeks ago we did a series on shooting video on a DSLR, and since then we've had a lot of questions about shooting on a green screen. In fact, we got a great question from Bob. Bob asked, can you describe a chroma key or green screen setup and provide recommendations for shooting in this style? Well, Bob, absolutely. In fact, a lot of people have been asking about that, and so it's a lot easier to show you how to set this up than it is to describe it. So we're going to go to the studio and get started. When you're setting up for green screen, lighting is crucial. If you get it right, you're going to have an easy time in post-production. If you get it wrong, you're going to have a nightmare to deal with. So let me show you exactly how we've set this up. I have two lights. These are two ARRI 650 Fresnels, and those are illuminating the green screen, and you need to light the green screen separately from your talent. The talent is being lit by this softbox right here, and that's just going to give us a nice soft light. And usually you want to make sure you have a soft light on the talent. And then also we need to separate our talent from the green screen and make sure that green doesn't spill onto the back of our talent's head. So we have this Fresnel right above the green screen that's shining on the back of our subject, which is going to be me actually. And so let me show you a lighting diagram to make it really clear how we've set things up. In this lighting diagram, you can see that we have two ARRI 650 Fresnels lighting our green screen. The ARRI on the right side of the screen is illuminating the left side of our green screen, and the ARRI on the left side of our screen is illuminating the right side of our green screen. Behind the green screen, we have another ARRI 650 that is illuminating the back of our model's head. To illuminate the model, we have a key light just to the left of our camera. It's an ARRI Light 1000 with a softbox attached. And to bounce some light back into the other side of our model's face, we have a silver reflector. The model is positioned about 11 feet from our green screen. All right, well now that you've seen the lighting diagram, let me walk you through how these are set up in a very specific manner. Now I've had to turn off all of the ambient light here, so it's a little bit shadowy, so we hope that the light on the camera is actually going to give us enough illumination. So let's first start with the Fresnels that we're using on the side to illuminate the background. So I'm going to walk over here. These are ARRI 650 Fresnels. And what we're using, normally hard light, people are usually don't like to use hard light on a green screen. But the nice thing about this is I can dial this from a flood to a spot. And because of the inverse square law, which says when we bring a light farther from the background, it spreads out and it becomes a lot more even, we've put these about 15 feet from our background and put them on flood. So that gives us a nice even wash of light on our green screen. Now I've also put the barn doors on here to make sure I block the light from hitting our talent. I'll show you that in a second. But you can see the shadow on the background when these move in and out, that they're just hitting the green screen and not much more. I can't move this too much or I'll burn my hand, but that's about how that works. So these are set to about the middle as far as the height of the green screen, and one on each side. And we had this one pointing to the opposite side of the green screen and the one on the opposite side as well. So the one on the right side points to the left, and the one on the left side points to the right. That gives us a nice even wash of light without any gradients across the back. Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that the light is absolutely nice and perfectly illuminated across the green screen. And to do that, I need a light meter to make sure that it's exactly right. So walk back with me this way, and I'll show you how I did that. Now, normally with a video camera, you would have a waveform monitor or some other device to do this. So our camera's going to come over here and I'll show you how this sets up. Now we need to make sure that we don't have any shadows when we meter our light. And I really don't care what the meter reading is. All I care is that it's consistent across the entire green screen. So I've set this to ambient metering mode at 60th of a second. And when I meter it here, up in this corner, it's telling me 4.5. And then I'm just going to meter to see if it meters 4.5 across. And it does. As long as I make sure I don't have any shadows, I want to make sure that no matter where I go, it's telling me 4.5, 4.5, yep, 4.5, 4.5. And so I know I have a perfectly illuminated, evenly illuminated green screen. Now, if I had something that said maybe 5 or a higher value, that would mean that one of my lights was a little bit off. I needed to move it back or change the focus a little bit. So you have to sort of adjust your lights. Sometimes that can take quite a while to get everything situated. In fact, sometimes I've seen it take up to an hour or two or even longer to figure out exactly how far your lights need to be from your green screen and where it needs to be and get everything set up. But once you have it, make sure you take lots of notes so that you can duplicate that often. And once you have it set up, it's pretty easy to replicate that quite frequently. So this is totally perfectly illuminated, but the problem is now, if I was standing here as the talent, well, the light is going to bounce off this, it's going to hit me in the back of the head, and I'm going to have that really nasty green line around my body, which I don't like. And also I have shadows on the green screen, and we can't have that or else our key isn't going to work in post. So what we need to do is we need to put our talent farther from the green screen, at least 6 feet or a little bit longer if possible. So we're going to walk back this way, and you can see that the shadows are disappearing from me, and because of our lights are at the side, that's another reason we've done that. So this is about where I'm going to be standing, and it's about 15, 12 feet, something like that from our background, and there's no shadows in the background, but now I'm totally in black. Now let me show you one more thing. We're going to leave the camera right where it is, but when I back up, you can see that about right here, I'm actually in the light from these side Fresnels. We can't have that. I need to make sure that the light falling on me is separate. So that's another reason that I've come forward a little bit, and that's another reason we have those barn doors, making sure that I don't have any light on me. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the softbox that's illuminating me, and there it is. It's ready to go. Now I need to take another meter reading, and that metered at 4.5. This meter's at 4.5, and that's another key ingredient. You need to make sure that the light on your subject is even with the light on the green screen. So whatever the green screen meters, your subject needs to meter the same thing. Sometimes you can have the green screen a little bit less light, a little bit underexposed by maybe a half a stop, but definitely make sure it's not overexposed. That's a mistake that will cost you in post. Now there's one more thing we need to do, and that is to make sure that there's no green spilling on me and to make sure that I stand out from that background. And so to do that, we're going to turn on the light that's right above the green screen, and that's going to put a nice halo of light around me. And that's sort of going to make sure that any of the green that's hitting me is eliminated with this nice orange light. And that'll give our key in post-production a lot easier time. Once you have everything set up, you're ready to go, and you can do all kinds of green screen stuff to your heart's content. So let me shoot a few scenes, and then I'll show you how to fix all this stuff in post-production to get those perfect results. All right, we're about to start shooting, but I want to make sure that you understand how we've set this up. So we're using a Nikon D3S here, and the lens is very critical, and the position of the camera. So this is a 200 millimeter lens. We're using a really long lens, and the reason for that is to correct for distortion and really get some nice compression. So if we had this at a wide angle lens, we'd have to put the camera really close. So we're going to come back here and show you what would happen. So if we had a wide angle lens and the camera was really close, you can see all of the green screen. My head's really big, and it's really going to be difficult for me to use my hands. And so instead, what we're going to do is we're going to put the camera way far away and then use a long lens. And so using a long lens allows us to really zoom in. And when we zoom in, what happens is we get nice compression. So our angle of view narrows, the green screen feels like it comes closer to the back of my head, even though it's physically not moving, and we get a much cleaner shot, and that way we can shoot exactly what we want, and we can bring all these lights and things in closer, and everything is going to be clean. So let's start shooting, and then I'll show you how to fix this up in post. Welcome to tonight's episode of Studio News. In the news tonight, we have a major breakthrough. Well, now that we have all of our footage, what I've done is I've brought it into After Effects and created a new sequence or new composition here called Demo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and grab my video file. It's this AVI file right here that we shot. And I need to knock out all this green and get rid of all the stuff on the sides. Now what I'm about to show you, it could be applicable in Motion or After Effects or most post-production tools. What you would need to do is first you need to key out the green, and then you need to add some kind of garbage mat to get rid of the stuff on the sides, and then you're ready to go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag this onto my timeline here. And here I am standing here, and what I need to do first is get rid of this green stuff. So in After Effects we have something called Key Light. It's really simple to just drag that on there, and then I can just say, you know what, take this green and knock it out. And there it is. It's gone. Now I can do some other things to really tweak this to make sure it's a perfect matte, but After Effects does a pretty good job of just keying that right out immediately. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to add some kind of matte here to get rid of all this stuff on the outside so we don't see that. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to add a quick mask here. And so just to make this quick, I'm going to do it really fast. So I'm just going to go in here, add my mask, and you'll see that as soon as I get this done, I am ready to rock and roll. So just like that, bammo, all that stuff disappears, and now I'm just sort of floating on a transparent background. Now once I'm done with that, I can add it to my render queue, export it as an animation with an alpha channel to make sure that all this transparency goes with it, and then I'm ready to do some things in Final Cut or in Premiere. Now just to show you this, I'm going to go into Final Cut Pro here. I've already set all this up. What I have is I have a sequence here on my timeline. I've just got this digital juice background of some simple blue moving stuff. And I can go in here and I can grab this, this file that I've already exported. And this is me, this is black. This black here is actually transparent. So what I can do is I can drag this file down onto my timeline. And you can see that I'm totally perfectly keyed out. And once we have that, I can just move myself around here. I can resize, I can reposition, I can do anything I want inside of my timeline. And because I've got this nice alpha channel, it's totally cut out in After Effects or Motion, I have a lot of flexibility. In fact, I've got this all put together here on something we've called fake news, where I've added a bunch of different layers of sounds and different effects like this studio news and this rotating globe and some fake text here at the bottom. And we can play that, and you can see that this really works well together. So let's take a look at the finished product. Welcome to tonight's episode of Studio News. In the news tonight, we have a major breakthrough. The roll of gaff tape has been missing for over 2 weeks now, has finally been found under a cabinet at the back of the studio. The proud parents of the roll of gaff tape are very, very appreciative of all of the hard work of the staff to find the roll of tape. Well, that's our news tonight. Thank you for joining us for Studio News. Well, there you have it. It's shooting on a green screen in a studio. Now, and you don't have to have all this expensive equipment that we used. In fact, on our sister show, How'd They Do That?, we featured Sinfo TV earlier last year, and we showed how you can do a green screen on just some fabric that you get at a local fabric store with using some very inexpensive lights, and they did all of their post-production on iMovie on their laptop computer. So there are options out there that are very, very affordable, but if you want really professional results, I highly recommend you do it the way that we just showed you. Well, thank you so much for the question, Bob. If you're like Bob and have a question about photography, please send it to me at askmark@adorama.com, and I just might use it on an upcoming episode of Digital Photography One-on-One. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you again next week.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center, where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.